The Huskies are spending Thanksgiving break in sunny, warm Florida, but it's not all play for UConn. They get to work tonight. 3 games in 3 nights, starting with the College of Charleston, now on SNY. From Germain Arena in Estero, Florida, this is UConn women's basketball on SNY. Tonight, the Huskies begin play in the Gulf Coast Showcase against the College of Charleston. UConn coming off a win over Creighton in Stores on Sunday. Brianna Stewart, 10 for 10 from the floor in that win. She led the way with 25 points. UConn rolling to a victory, bouncing back after the Stanford loss. And Stewart in the middle of everything, as she normally is. 96-60 was the final. Her stat line brought to you by Toyota. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers in that game. Add that to her 23 and 10 against Stanford. It earned her Player of the Week honors in the American. Great to have you with us here courtside at Germain Arena alongside Meg Como. I am Eric Freed. The numbers are great for Stewart, but you really think she's going to be judged this year on the little things she does for this UConn team.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Now, the great players contribute and score and produce, and she obviously does that. But the best players make others better. And that's what she has got to do. Because if she doesn't want to be double and triple teamed, well, her teammates have got to step up. Now, it's a lot to ask some freshmen in Kia Nurse and Gabby Williams, but you know what? They've got to do it. They're in a perfect position. Nurse in her first start, 22 points, 2 assists, 2 steals. Williams had a terrific game as well. If they want to have the kind of season they want, they need big contributions from everybody.
Some changes to the lineup here tonight for UConn. Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis is back. She missed the last game with illness. And Morgan Tuck is in the starting lineup tonight for UConn. She really is going to be an important part of this chemistry experiment for UConn this year.
There's no question about it, Eric. And she's emerging as the heart and soul of this team. The kid sat out last year with that knee surgery and got granted the red shirt. But what I love about Morgan Tuck, she just kind of quietly goes about her business. Had a tremendous afternoon, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. She doesn't do anything spectacular, but she does so many things exceptionally well.
And that leadership aspect is going to be one we'll watch develop this season for UConn. Tonight, the Huskies taking on the College of Charleston out of the CAA. We're back with the starting lineups and the opening tip next on SNY. You know, we're in Florida. I feel overdressed. Gerard said jacket and tie and we are way overdressed for today. Gino Auriemma's got the casual,
right? But it's also freezing, so they're all wearing sweats.
And you can see the UConn faithful have turned out here in the Fort Myers, Naples, Estero area, Southwest Florida. And great crowd on hand here spending their Thanksgiving holiday with UConn on the road. And Gino and his staff in full beach dress-down mode. I like the look.
I know, but some of the game before this one, all the coaches were in sneakers.
So at least he's got some loafers. That brings it all together. Starting lineups presented by Subaru. We mentioned just a moment ago a little bit of a change here. You've got Morgan in the starting 5 with Mariah Jefferson, Kia Nurse, Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis back after missing a game, and Brianna Stewart. So you've got Sanaya Chong and Kia Stokes now coming off the bench for the Huskies, ranked 3rd in the country. College of Charleston is 0-4 on the season so far. Aaron Hall will be one to watch from deep range, shooting the 3. Shannon Hines, Christy Hewitt, Jacqueline Luna Castro, and Bree Bolden starting 5 for Candace Jackson, Michigan State alum, her first year as a college head coach. 31-year-old was an assistant at Duke, at Wake Forest, and at Richmond prior to getting to Duke, but an assistant at those 3 stops before getting a chance here to be a head coach here. And it's a learning process for her, trying to find out what she's got with this team and for the team to figure out what her style is going to be. Yeah,
it will. And you know what? You know, they've had their bumps early, but she's a great young coach, great mind, a wonderful person. I guarantee you, she will be an outstanding and very successful college basketball coach.
And quick with a smile and a laugh, as we found out this morning when we had a chance to talk to her. Ed Silasky, Kevin Pethtel, Angel Stanton, our officiating crew in the opening tip, and Charleston comes right out and gets a takeaway. Bree Bolden, who did not play in the last game, was assessed a flagrant 2 technical against East Carolina, so she did not play against George Mason last time out. Bolden's the leading scorer at almost 11 points a game. And now a turnover again for UConn and a slow start here for the Huskies. You're going to hear us mention it once or twice. It is freezing cold in this building. It sounds kind of weird to say that here in South Florida, but we're in a hockey rink,
right?
And they've got the AC cranked up to make sure that the floor stays nice and dry for the women here in this tournament. We'll talk to Kareth Burke about that in a moment.
I just wish I had brought warmer clothes. That's all I'm going to say.
You didn't dress warm enough for your trip to Florida.
I didn't.
UConn turns up the defense. Stewart takes it away, and then it's another turnover right in front of Gino Auriemma. And a rough start here for the Huskies.
And that will quickly make him lose his mind. Some unforced errors here. The nice defense and the takeaway, and then just throwing it away, careless.
Lob inside to Luna Castro, who's trying to score on Mosqueda Lewis. Hewitt after the rebound, and it will be Charleston basketball. After the loss to Stanford, UConn came out flying against Creighton, really turned up the intensity on the defensive end. They get a turnover here, and here's Kia Nurse, who's played so well, going coast to coast for the first 2 for the Huskies.
I love how she just exploded in between those 2 defenders with the basketball, moving up the floor so quickly.
And Nurse with a great little takeaway as Hines tried to throw it off her, and it ends up with a 2 for Stewart. Boy, Kia Nurse showing what she can do. We saw it against Creighton. You're seeing it here in the early going tonight. Take you back to the Nurse field goal to get scoring started here for UConn.
Well, remember, she got the nod against Creighton in that starting lineup because Coach Gino Auriemma said he wanted her defense and her toughness, showing some of both early on. Charleston has turned the ball over quite a bit in their previous 4 games. Look for UConn to really add pressure.
They are averaging 21 turnovers a game, and Mariah Jefferson will have an easy layup after Bree Bolden stumbled going across half court, looking back at the court to see if maybe there was something that a little uneven with the floor perhaps, but she just lost her footing, and a timeout is called quickly here by Charleston.
Well, one thing Candace Jackson told the 2 of us earlier today, Eric, is that they cannot turn the basketball over. And that was just not knowing where she was going. There were 4 white jerseys in the lane. You know, you have to help yourself and not throw the ball away. And you know, if UConn is pressuring you, like, okay, I get it. But to use a tennis term, those unforced errors are what really drive coaches crazy.
Wasn't a perfect start in those first 90 seconds or so for Auriemma's team.
No.
But really, you look at the clock, we've only played minute 35, so that opening minute with a couple of turnovers in the mix there. 3, in fact, for UConn. Bolden got caught up and comes out of the timeout with a turnover.
Too fast, too fast.
That's 6 turnovers already now for Charleston, and we have not played 2 minutes yet in this game. Well, game key number 1 for Candace Jackson, as Meg just mentioned, no turnovers. Already an issue. Here's Jefferson, quick first step. Nurse, got it.
Really good offense that time. Spread the ball side to side, inside out.
8-0 Huskies. Bolden being harassed, just trying to dribble out of trouble. Scoring is Shannon Hines to get Charleston on the board. Hines, a freshman out of Tennessee, bigger junior out of North Carolina, and now back the other way. Another hoop for UConn to go back up by 8. Morgan Tuck with her first 2. Three-pointers off the mark. Lewis gets called for the turnover. Let's take a look at the UConn teamwork replay breakdown. It's presented by UConn Health.
Look at this, top of the floor. It goes to the left side, dribble penetration, kick it to the corner. You got either spreading out the defense, the nice quick pass from Lewis, and then the finish by Nurse. That was just tremendous offense. Really good spacing.
Charleston fighting on the glass, but they touched it last. UConn basketball. Jefferson to Morgan Tuck, and another turnover for UConn. That is their 5th already. Bolden. Lost out of bounds. Last touch by Charleston. UConn ball.
Wisely, Mariah Jefferson did not look over at the bench when Gina was yelling for her. She threw that turnover, that bad pass into the post.
UConn has been down here since Tuesday. They got down here Tuesday. They had a practice on Wednesday, didn't practice on Thanksgiving, had a shoot-around this morning as Nurse is off the mark. Back the other way comes Clay Brown. And it'll be Charleston basketball as Jefferson gets back. Clay Brown, a freshman out of Queens, struggled with turnovers in the last game, but kind of the keys have been handed over to her. She will push the tempo here for this Charleston team. Three-pointer is good. Erin Hall has unlimited range. She's made 9 three-pointers now this season. Number 2 scorer on this team at 11 points a game. Jefferson. Nurse. Lewis tiptoes and controls the rebound. Open look for Jefferson. Tuck, good fight to get the putback. And one.
Great finish there by Tuck. She always finds herself to be at the right place at the right time. As that ball comes off the rim. I think that was off of her left foot.
Kia Nurse checks out. Sanaya Chong comes into the game as Tuck goes to the free throw line. What do you think of this starting 5 that Gino Auriemma has put on the floor here tonight with Tuck in the lineup?
Well, he's obviously trying to mix it up, and I think he's trying to reward Morgan Tuck for just the way she's played early on, and again with that emerging leadership role.
Jefferson off for Sanaya Chong. Lewis for 3. First points for Lewis, averaging 21 points through her first 2 games of the season.
But as all players know, it doesn't matter if you start the game. You want to be there when the game is ending.
Charleston breaks the pressure, but they can't finish. Here comes Stewart. Chong. Now Charleston will try to settle the tempo down. It's been a little helter-skelter here in the first 5 minutes of this game between College of Charleston and UConn. Teams have combined for 11 turnovers and now 1 air ball. 5 minutes gone by here in the first half.
Well, Lewis missed the last game. She looks to have recovered nicely as she knocks down the 3 from long range. Huskies in the lead.
Back inside Germain Arena, 3rd meeting all time between UConn and Charleston. Let's now join Kareth Burke, shivering on the floor here at Germain Arena, whose report is brought to you by Chevrolet.
For the Jack, because one of the things that's not coming through your TV screen is how cold it is in here. Germain Arena is an ice rink. The ice is covered, the court is on top. It's chilly, there's no heat in this building. It's Florida, it's an ice rink. You don't need the heat. During the men's tournament, an organizer told me a storm rolled through town. So it was hot and humid that caused condensation on the courts. Heat met ice, science took over. Thankfully, the condensation didn't stop play or result in any injury. So for the women, the organizers are making sure to keep the chill in the air. For this game, I saw the UConn assistant coaches bundled up. Marissa Mosley in a winter coat. Shay Ralph had a blanket over her legs. And I asked Marissa, will the cold affect the players? She said, essentially, it better not. The Huskies ought to be warmed up and ready to play, Eric.
Yeah, it better not. No excuses here. excuse-free zone as the shot is missed and UConn gets a second chance here.
The players may say that the weather would maybe have to do for some of the sloppy play, or the temperature rather, for the sloppy play. And here a turnover, a backcourt violation by UConn.
All right, we're not making any excuses here. We're not going to go with the cold weather, but 6 turnovers for each team so far in this game.
Yeah.
How do you explain it?
Well, you know what? It's a beautiful destination. You know, gorgeous hotel. You know, Thanksgiving yesterday. It happens.
I just said we were in an excuse-free zone here, Megan. You just went all
They just gotta, you know what? Both teams, at least it's consistent.
Consistently.
It's volleyball now. Consistently bad.
Charleston will be more than happy to muck it up with UConn here, trying to stay close in this game. Tuck there defensively, forced a bad shot, and here's Jefferson one-on-one with the freshman Clay Brown back, and another turnover.
Great hands by Clay Brown to knock that ball away.
I think you're going to get an idea of what Gino Auriemma thinks about what's going on the floor. He's just looked to his bench. He's thrown Kia Nurse and Kia Stokes to the scorer's table. I think if you were dressed tonight, he would send you to the scorer's table.
They're not that desperate.
Well, the defense is there. Another missed shot, but a good hustle play by Charleston. But it ends up in the hands of UConn. Stewart was all alone there off the miss. Tried to get the rebound herself, but could not. Let's take you back to the volleyball match a moment ago.
When teams play like this, you know, it just seems that they're just not mentally sharp and ready. They playing volleyball? What is that? That's not typical of what we're used to seeing with the UConn team. And yeah, you know, we joke about not making excuses. Yeah, it's, you know, a tournament, Thanksgiving, travel. You know what? You just gotta play. Look how well they played at UC Davis.
Here's Michaela Hopkins into the game for Charleston, 6'5" senior out of Georgia. Kia Nurse, Kia Stokes on the floor, Kalina Mesquita-Lewis, Sanaya Chong on the floor, Morgan Tuck out there as it's kicked away.
You know, Gino has said this recently, Eric. This is a rebuilding year. They lost 2 outstanding players in Steph Dolson and Bria Hartley, but they did so much more than just score points and rebound and assist. They were the leaders and the heart and soul of the team. So now they gotta find everything anew.
The quote that stands out is, "This is not going to look beautiful."
Right.
We're talking about this UConn team, especially offensively this year. That's Hopkins on the inside, averaging 7 points and 5 rebounds a game.
Well, he could have been talking about the first 7.5 minutes of this game. Nurse got bailed out with that foul call because it looked like a walk.
It's now looked beautiful, and Gino looks to assistant Chris Daly. Here's Tuck. When you go away on these tournaments, like we said, away since Tuesday, you're together a lot, get a chance to kind of get away from campus, find out what you have, and I think we're finding out a little bit here that it's going to be a work in progress.
It is.
For this UConn team.
Well, and you know, I'm really curious to see how they're going to rebound, pardon the pun, from these first 8 minutes. You know, you're not playing well. How mentally tough are they to get it back together and start making good plays?
Chong drops it back nicely to Stokes, can't finish. Kia Stokes struggling from the floor so far this year. Came into this game at 44%, was 60% from the floor last year. Brianna Stewart back into the game, next dead ball. Hines, and she's going to get called for a foul on Morgan Tuck. That'll get us to a timeout. Inside of 12 to play in the first half. 9-point game. UConn has missed their last 4 field goal attempts, and they have 4 turnovers in the last 65 seconds of play. They're up by 9. It's time for Como's Court Vision. Take it away, Meg.
Well, one thing that we've always seen over the years is great half-court defense. Check out Sanaya Chong. Lets the kid go right by her which then Morgan Tuck steps up and commits the foul because Sanaya Chong didn't get in a stance and keep her man in front. That's been a problem thus far this year, and if they don't correct it now, they could get smoked next Saturday at Notre Dame.
So much talk in the preseason, especially from Gino Auriemma, about how good Sanaya Chong was, but once you get into game mode, starting to see on the other end of the floor that it's
and defense is
a struggle. Yeah,
defense.
You're not
going to
play if you
can't
mind. Defend.
No, you won't, and it's disconcerting to watch, and the coaches are exasperated by it. It's just incredibly frustrating.
A couple of free throws missed. Chong on the floor with Mosqueda Lewis, Stokes, Nurse, and Stewart. Brianna Stewart knocks down a three. UConn is now 2 of 7 on their three-point attempts. They are 6 of 8 inside the three-point line. The lead is 12. Clay Brown defended by Nurse. Open three, missed by Bolden. Kia Nurse, Chong steps into space. It's one thing she can do. She can create, she can score.
That was a really smart play by Sanaya Chong and a nice find by Nurse. Split in there in the middle of that zone defense.
Sanaya was 0 for 6 from the floor in the win against Creighton. Did not score. 6 different scores so far for UConn to push the lead to 14. There's Stewart with the long arms. Mosqueda Lewis with the perfect lead and the finish.
Some people are looking around thinking, man, I thought she was going to flush it.
Baby steps right now, man. She tried to get up there, didn't finish it. I don't know what the head coach would do at that point.
Oh, boy. Not the time.
Another turnover for Charleston. UConn has scored 10 points off of 9 Charleston turnovers. Bolden's pull-up is no good. Charleston shooting below 20% from the field so far. Mosqueda Lewis can't hit the three in transition.
Fast pace to this game right now. Better job by Chong, keeping her guy in front of her.
Another miss by Charleston. Mosqueda Lewis, the runner, offensive foul, no basket.
And she tapped her chest saying, that's my fault. A leader takes it, takes ownership. Yeah, defense got there. She tried to pull up.
Gino Auriemma keeps the bodies coming off the bench. Gabby Williams into the game for the first time. It's Jefferson, Tuck, Williams, Mosqueda Lewis, and Stewart, the 5 on the floor now for UConn. And a foul is called on Charleston as Jefferson comes away with the basketball.
That's the kind of hustle and the energy the coaching staff is looking for. And he's going to keep rotating bodies in until he finds the right combination.
Mariah Jefferson was adjusting her hair when the pass came into her.
That's a problem.
That would have been an all-time turnover right there. I would have taken a timeout at that point. Williams played so well, and she comes into the game and has an impact. Give her the assist.
Great heads-up play, and once again, there by terrific pass from Williams, but nice job cutting to the hoop by Morgan Tuck.
Tuck now
my gosh, I think 3 people blocked that.
That's true. Here's Mosqueda Lewis. Stewart. Too strong in the 3, and the rebound for Hopkins. And sent back out of bounds, and it'll be UConn basketball when we come back. Williams to Tuck, and UConn's on top by 18. Sand on our paperwork here. Road to a 10th national title is underway. Go behind the scenes for a unique look at what it takes to be the best. UConn Huskies All Access. It's tomorrow at 7:30, and it's only on SNY. Same 5 on the floor for UConn out of the timeout. This is their largest lead of the game, and it now gets stretched out as Kalina Mosqueda Lewis knocks down the 3. She's now 2 of 3 outside the arc.
UConn only 3 of 11 from long range. The shooting is as cold as this building.
Charleston 16% and falling from the floor, and a pull on the shirt and a foul called on Bolden.
You have to call it when Stewart's jersey was like a foot off of her body.
Jackie Luna Castro back into the game for Charleston as Hopkins heads to the bench. Stewart for Gabby Williams. Morgan Tuck, kick out. Rebound for Hall. And look at Mariah Jefferson jump right up. Give it off to Morgan Tuck, and Tuck now with 9.
2 really good sequence in a row there. Even though that first shot didn't go in, I like the offense. Good patience, good spacing, and then great quick hands by Jefferson.
Clay Brown. Bolden's feed inside. Stewart there defensively to make it tough on Christy Hewitt. Mosqueda Lewis ducks in for 2 more. Tuck with 9, Mosqueda Lewis with 8, Stewart with 7 for UConn, and the lead, just like that, is up to 25. 6 to go, first half. Luna Castro ends a long drop for Charleston. They had missed 6 straight field goals. And they went 7 minutes between field goals. Rebound to Stewart. 2 more.
Her right shoe is untied, has been that entire possession.
Hewitt ducks in. She gets her first 2, averaging 8 a game for Charleston. Open 3. Stewart kept it alive. Jefferson tucked the feet inside.
Bad pass from Morgan Tuck.
Stewart hustles to get it. Shot clock now down to 6. Jefferson, kick outside. Tuck, open look. Gabby Williams fighting on the inside, and she'll get the putback. Good hard work by the freshman to get her first points of the evening.
Charleston played some good defense. You just got to get some defensive rebounds.
Stewart won't go, but she'll go to the free throw line. Well, now Gabby Williams can tie her shoe. Imagine what she'd be able to do if that thing was tied up from the beginning. Pretty good finish here.
Here, look at that. Almost one-handed comes up with it. Just good effort there by the freshman.
Brianna Stewart heading to the free throw line. 16 fouls now on Charleston. Sanaya Chong, Kia Nurse into the game as Mariah Jefferson and Mosqueda Lewis sit down. Kia Stokes will come in next dead ball. Bolden. Shaniqua Hurd into the game, freshman. Brings it out towards half court. Tried to feed it into Hopkins. 12 turnovers now for Charleston. Another three-pointer missed for Connecticut. Tuck will hit the two. Morgan Tuck into double figures for the second straight game. She had 15 against Creighton. Really strong first half against the Blue Jays. Stewart stood her ground against Hurd.
Yeah, that was adventurous by Hurd.
Stewart running back the other way. Little out of control, couldn't finish. Gabby Williams came up with the loose ball.
Oh, Tuck screamed. She cut nicely, was wide open.
Tuck is going to get called for an offensive foul. Taking the charge was Jackie Luna Castro, who's slow to get up. So the foul on Tuck. In a happier moment, she scored here to get into double figures with 11. Connecticut on top by 28 here, 3:04 to go in the first half. Let's get to tonight's drive of the game presented by Ford. It involves Brianna Stewart.
Well, the kid runs the floor so well. Right, left hand, doesn't matter. But look how high she gets up. I talked about her flushing it earlier. Ooh, she could have.
We call that
up there.
Call that the slam cam. We almost had an opportunity to use the term slam cam.
Absolutely.
So Stewart out of the game at the moment, as Gino Auriemma kind of mixed and matched here. A lot of different combinations. UConn has had trouble taking care of the basketball. 11 turnovers here in the first half.
Yeah, and I find it interesting as Stewart is out right now. Tuck has 2 fouls, and he's keeping her in there.
That was the second personal on Morgan Tuck. UConn with 3 team fouls. Mosqueda Lewis has the other foul for the Huskies. 3 minutes to go, first half. Winner of this game will take on Vanderbilt here at the Gulf Coast Showcase. Vandy knocked off Minnesota 71-54. Other half of the bracket, Green Bay beat Georgia Tech. Arizona State beat Villanova. Charleston beating themselves. Turnovers. Tuck couldn't finish. And a foul called on Charleston. Whistle against Christy Hewitt. A couple of free throws here for Kia Nurse. Luna Castro comes in for Charleston. Here comes Stewart and Mosqueda Lewis for Connecticut as Tuck and Gabby Williams head to the bench. Nice round of applause for Williams. You can tell big UConn crowd here today appreciate the hustle, because you notice when Gabby Williams is on the floor, she's trying to track down
everywhere,
everybody.
right? Everywhere.
There's Kia Stokes with the rebound. Lewis just into the game and knocks down a 3. 11 points now for the senior.
What a difference it makes to have Mosqueda Lewis on that floor to drain those threes. What a pretty stroke.
And an unforced error that Meg was referencing before as Luna Castro turns it over. A Nurse, pretty strong finish by the freshman who now has 6.
That's a great example of her incredible athleticism.
Charleston just dribbles into trouble.
Nurse just caused that turnover. She's everywhere. You got to give credit to Mosqueda Lewis. for diving on the loose ball, but the athleticism and the strength of the freshman from Canada.
Averaging 24 minutes a game. First start came against Creighton, scored 22 points, 4 of 4 from outside the three-point line, a couple of assists, a couple of steals. Stewart, good look to Stokes, who'll go to the free throw line.
Really good offense. I've liked their spacing the whole game. It's been pretty, their passing has been crisp as well.
You know what? We'll look for some of that crisp passing and good spacing in our first half highlights.
All right, sounds good.
It's our call to the tape room to deliver. We know they will. We'll also preview Huskies All Access, which debuts tomorrow night. And we'll hear from Kia Nurse coming off that impressive performance against Creighton. She'll talk a little bit about her developing game here. That's coming up at halftime. The lead is now 36. (20-0). Points off turnovers. UConn has turned the ball over 11 times, but they've been able to correct that mistake. They'll have another opportunity here as Chong turns the ball over.
I've noticed a pattern here of Chong just going so fast on one end and then comes up to the offensive end of the floor and has to settle down. There she got caught up and traveled as a result.
Aaron Hall now with 5 to lead Charleston in scoring. 1 minute to go, first half. Stewart, quick finish with the left hand inside.
I'm not even sure if Stewart knew exactly where she was when she turned.
There's Sanaya Chong taking it away from Brown. Lewis. Just about everybody got a touch that trip, didn't they?
They did, and you know, you want to say to Charleston, which Candace Jackson's calling a timeout, like, hey guys, number 23, she's their three-point shooter. Let's make sure we get a hand in the face. But again, another example, Eric, of tremendous spacing, inside, outside, changing sides of the floor. That's what extends that defense.
It's interesting. We didn't see in that replay. And I don't think she did. Stewart was the only one who didn't touch it there, and you would think, well, the offense kind of flows through her, but it goes back to what you talked about at the top of the telecast. Yeah, she could go for 40, as Gino talked about, but there's no need. You got to get everybody else involved, and she's going to draw a lot of attention trying to deny her the basketball, and Mosqueda Lewis is going to burn you from the outside.
Absolutely. The more offensive weapons and threats that UConn has, the better off for Breanna Stewart. Because we saw Stanford did a very nice job double and triple teaming her.
And she's still able to get 23 points against Stanford, and she scores 25 against Creighton. Those points are going to be there, but it's going to be at the expense of others trying to contribute. So far in this game, it has not been. Tuck has 11, Mosqueda Lewis leading the way with 14. Wouldn't go down for Brown. Final 10 seconds of the first half as Kia Nurse pushes it across half court. Nurse feeds it inside, and a turnover for UConn. 13 turnovers in the first half for UConn. I think you can look up at the scoreboard and see that it's such a huge lead, 37 points at halftime, but far from perfect in that first half for the Huskies.
Yeah, you know, not perfect at all, sloppy offense, but yeah, this is going to be a work in progress. It's going to be a long work in progress, I think.
Let's hear from the head coach, Gino, standing by with Kareth.
Well, Gino, after some early turn, looked like the team was able to find a groove. How do you like how the chemistry is coming along on the court?
It's taking a little while. It's going to take some more time and some more work. You know, we're trying to play a little bit quicker than we have. Just think it gets us going a little bit, and so sometimes when you play that quickly, turnovers are a result of that. But I think it's getting us the kind of energy that I want. It's getting us the kind of aggressiveness that I want, and the chemistry will come along. You know, it's just not right there right now.
All right, Gino, thank you. That chemistry, a work in progress for the Huskies. Right now, though, they have the 50-13 lead at halftime. We'll be right back from Germain Arena, the halftime report. From Germain Arena. The score 50-13 UConn. Gino likes his team's speed and aggressiveness, but one result has been turnovers. Gino said the Huskies with 13. Kia Nurse was one of the starters in this game. Her line right now, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And Gino Auriemma has complimented Kia Nurse's poise. He says she does not play like a freshman. That Team Canada experience really helped her. Kia Nurse told us the way that she likes to try to attack her opponents and show that poise.
As a player, I mean, I think my attacking game to the basket has always been one of my biggest strengths. You know, just taking people off the bounce, and defensively, obviously, just putting ball pressure on. It helps me transition into my offense. What I got to work on would probably be extending the three-point range. You know, just being more consistent in hitting the shot.
For more on Kia Nurse and to stay on top of all things UConn, check out SNYUConn.com, presented by Mercedes-Benz. It's part of the UConn.tv blog network. We will be back in a moment from Germain Arena. Eric and Meg coming up on the other side of the break with your first half highlights. The Huskies up 50-13 in Florida.
Take a look at the first half stats presented by Bob's Discount Furniture with UConn on top of the College of Charleston, 50-13, big edge in rebounding. Turnovers are pretty tight, but it's the points off turnovers making the difference for the Huskies. 23-2 the edge for UConn. They had 13 steals in that first half. That already matches their season high, which they got in the opener against UC Davis. I know it's chilly back home. I know there's snow in parts of New England, but this was today in Southwest Florida. Back with the second half in a moment. The lead is 37 at halftime. UConn on top of Charleston. Day one of the Gulf Coast Showcase. Eric and Meg back with you courtside here at Germain Arena in Estero, Florida. It was interesting listening to Gino Auriemma talk to Kareth Burke going off the court at halftime. Guess there's a method to some of the madness we saw when it came to turnovers in the first half, because he wants them to play quicker, and one of the side effects is throwing the ball away. Still a big lead at halftime here for UConn.
Yeah, but there were a couple possessions where I thought UConn did an outstanding job of slowing it down, not going too quickly, but look how well they're spaced. Dribble, penetrate, kick it, and the quick ball movement is exactly what you've got to do. Now, similarly here, the inside and then changing sides of the floor, taking a look, and then anytime you can give the ball to Mosqueda Lewis in the corner wide open. She's got 14 points, 4 of 8 from long range.
Teams with a few seconds here to get things squared away before the start of the second half. And while we wait for them to get things restarted, let's check in with Kareth.
Eric, I had a chance to talk to Candace Jackson, the College of Charleston coach, as she came out at half. Said, you know, it's not easy playing an early season game against the defending national champ, but what she told her team is embrace the challenge. It's the type of game that's going to make her team stronger as they enter their conference play. I said, apart from the score, do you like some of the things that you're seeing, the stuff that's not showing up on the box score? And she said, yeah, she likes the hustle. She likes her team's transition defense. She likes that they're contesting shots. They just have to embrace the challenge, Eric.
We'll see if they can embrace it. They shot poorly in the first half last time out against George Mason. Ended up losing that game by 10. They shot 21% from the floor in the first half. 15 turnovers, and we talked about the 23 points off those 15 turnovers converted by UConn. Huskies were a plus 19 in rebounding margin in the first half. Individual scores, Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis with 14 points on 5 of 9 shooting. She was 4 of 8 outside the three-point line. The rest of the team from outside the three-point line was 1 for 10. Morgan Tuck set to put it into play on the court with Mariah Jefferson, Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, Kia Nurse, and Brianna Stewart. Tuck had 11 in the first half, and that won't go down.
Yeah, you think, how did that not go down?
If you're just joining us, big UConn crowd here at Germain Arena, 7,000 seat facility here in Southwest Florida. Mariah Jefferson reads it perfectly, gets the steal, and gets the finish and the foul.
Wow, the trail official calling that foul. And the Charleston kids looked at each other like, why did he blow that whistle? Nice anticipation by the speedy, quick Jefferson. I don't know what kind of foul there was there.
Morgan Tuck fighting for the rebound. Jefferson ducks in and scores.
And give that, those 2 points are going to go to Jefferson, but if this was hockey, Morgan Tuck would get some credit there as well. Great hustle play.
Six points now for Jefferson. Do it off for Hall. Hall going to be well short with the shot clock winding down. They reset the shot clock, and the officials said it should not have reset, so it's a shot clock violation.
Well, the nice step through there by Jefferson, but Morgan Tuck knocking it away, keeping it alive. That's the extra hustle that this team needs to do. Let's try it again.
Trying to throw it into Stewart. Knocked out of bounds by Charleston. UConn ball with 16 to shoot.
Yeah, give Charleston credit for reading it better that time.
Tia Nurse heard from her at halftime about her strength is attacking the basket. She now has 9. Stewart comes out with the help, but she's going to get called for the block. Take it back to the Nurse hoop.
And a nice penetration. And a strong finish.
Comes back out top to Hall, and then lost out of bounds by Charleston. That's turnover number 18 for the College of Charleston, their 3rd of this half. Morgan Tuck has it knocked away. Another turnover for UConn. Season high 14 for the Huskies.
We still got a lot of basketball to play.
We do. Batted around and pulled down by Mosqueda Lewis. Nurse, offensive foul.
Well, that's what playing too quick will do. You get into that frenetic style and you commit that offensive foul. You just got to slow it down. It worked last time. The big thing in basketball is knowing when and when not to.
Bolden defended well. And a foul is called on Bree Bolden. That will get Shakleisha Brown into the game.
A rather subdued Gino Auriemma on the bench.
Presented without comment by me. But
I can't help myself.
Tuck.
Nice
Drew a
help
crowd.
defense.
Yep, the help was there. It results in a turnover. Now, one thing that Candace Jackson talked about, they're trying to treat this as just another game of the season, which of course we all know that's not the case. You're taking on the 2-time defending national champs, number 3 in the country, we get it, but they're trying to find ways where they can hold their own against UConn and get ready for the Colonial season that starts in a little over a month.
Yeah, the mistake that a lot of young coaches make, which I like Candace Jackson not doing that, she's not changing the way they play just for one game, one opponent. You can't do that.
Feed inside, Tuck got free, and Mosqueda Lewis found her.
Tremendous pass. And again, I love the way Tuck moves without the basketball.
And Stewart's going to get whistled for the personal foul. That'll be her second. It's not videotape, that's live. Shooter launches, did miss by much.
Jefferson got away with a foul there.
Stewart got the block. Nurse leads the break. Mosqueda Lewis with the finish. First points of the second half for KML. She has 16. That three is short. Played more than 4 minutes of the half, and Charleston yet to score. They've been outscored 10-zip here in the second half.
Well, UConn's defense here in the second half has been impressive. Here, the nifty dish. KML finishes.
We're back just a stone's throw away from the Gulf of Mexico. I think that's our director, Dan Barr, piloting that boat. I can tell, but it's not in a straight line. It's just kind of weaving in and out. Well, no, he's following proper nautical procedures there, so well done, Dan. Off into the distance he goes. Well, we've seen that rubbing out the headache look from Gino a couple times, but his team has outscored Charleston 10-zip here to start the second half, stretching the lead out to 47.
Baby steps and patience.
Right through the hands of Stewart, but Nurse is there to pick it up, making something out of nothing. KML knocks down another three, now with 19 points.
You see what these great hustle plays do. They create scoring opportunities. We've seen Morgan Tuck do it on the offensive boards there. Kia Nurse created that three-point opportunity for Mosqueda Lewis.
More defense, another blocked shot. We saw Stewart with it a moment ago. Luna for Brown. Kia Nurse, rebound, turning, trying to push.
Nice pass.
Did the ball hit the floor? No. Tuck's going to hit the free throw line. Luna Castro heading towards the bench. Looked like she got perhaps hit.
I think she got hit in the head.
On top of the nose, maybe?
Yeah.
Trying to blank it out. She's going to come out of the game as Christy Hewitt will come in.
Oh, she's bleeding.
She's bleeding.
Yeah, she got hit in the nose.
No bloody nose, so she'll head down and get some treatment. Well, Morgan Tuck to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Here's tonight's UConn trivia question presented by Mercedes-Benz. Meg, you ready?
I'm ready.
Who was the last Husky to go at least 10 for 10 from the floor in one game? We saw Brianna Stewart do it against Creighton last time out. And
I was wrong, by the way, the other day.
Yes, and I was too, because the record book had to be tweaked. Rebecca Lobo was 11 for 11 in a game, so I don't think it was Rebecca who called in on that. But so 10 for 10, who is the last one? We'll get to that answer coming up in just a couple of minutes.
I try to give props to my old teammate, Stacey Wetzel, and she was 7 for 7.
And a foul called on Stewart. That will be her third personal.
Yeah, you leave your feet, that's what's going to happen. Nice ball fake by Hewitt. Gets Stewart in the air.
Christy Hewitt, senior from Cumming, Georgia. Get a second one. Stewart goes to the bench with the 3 personal fouls. 8 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist for Stewart. Still a second half scoring drought for Charleston. Sanaya Chong, Kia Stokes in the game with Nurse and Stewart on the bench. Tuck. Lewis knew she missed it. Rebound comes out to Hines. Save. Good hustle play by Aaron Hall. And it will remain UConn basketball.
Yeah, that was a heads-up play by Hall to knock that off of a UConn player as she was going out of bounds. Yeah, off of Stokes' right knee.
They had reset the shot clock. The officials tell the scores table it should not have reset. So 15 on the shot clock. UA doesn't take that long, and it's last touch by the Huskies. Charleston basketball. First year for Candace Jackson as their head coach. 35 wins in the last 2 years under Natasha Adair, who's now the head coach at Georgetown. Mentor for Candace Jackson. There's Jefferson. Look at that speed getting to the basket with the finish.
Lightning quick. You could just see her go from like 4th to 5th gear, you know?
17-0. UConn outscoring Charleston here to start the second half.
Two-three zone. Haven't seen that much this year.
And finally the drought ends. Aaron Hall, first points of the second half for Charleston. 8 points now for Hall in the game. Tuck outside Chong is short. Stokes trying to fight for the rebound. And the Huskies will reset.
She thought about it. Nice screen by Mosqueda Lewis.
And a traveling violation called on Chong. Let's take it back to Mariah Jefferson's steal and score. Well, off the turnover.
Yeah, she's just so fast. You know, she can run faster with the ball than most people without the ball.
Jefferson heads to the bench. Kia Nurse back on. So it's Chong, Nurse, Stokes, Mosqueda Lewis, and Tuck, 5 on the floor. Tipped out of bounds. So you mentioned UConn going to a zone. Why, and what's the benefit for them?
Well, I think they need to start working on it because they have a hard time keeping guards
and I'm talking,
in front of them.
I'm talking Longview here.
Absolutely.
Why would
it's
they
not for tonight's game at all.
Sure,
but,
of course not.
You know, they have a hard time keeping the ball in front of them in the backcourt. So why not dabble with zone? I think it's a smart idea. They just got to make sure that, you know, sometimes it's harder to rebound out of a zone, so they got to make sure.
Great pass by Tuck and the finish by Stokes.
Pretty play. They got to make sure they find a body and box out and attack the defensive boards.
Brianna Davis-Bloom, redshirt senior, on the floor, and another turnover for Charleston. That is the 21st turnover for the College of Charleston. Tuck the assist, the 2 for Stokes. UConn up big. (69-16) the lead for UConn. They are on top big at halftime, 50-13. It's bigger here in the second half thanks to Kalina Mosqueda Lewis going on.
Yeah, she's got 17 points now. But, you know, it's getting herself in the right spot on the break, in the corner where the defense can't extend. You know, Charleston's got to do a better job of finding her, but when you have hustle plays like that, it's very, very difficult to contain a great shooter like that. You got to give credit to Nurse with that assist.
There's a little thing they need to work out here in the building. I've got it for 19. Truck's got it for 19, and when in doubt, we're going to estimate up here. So we're going from 17 to 19 for KML, and we'll make sure they get it squared away. I know Pat McKenna, who handles everything for UConn when it comes to numbers,
Sports
history,
information extraordinaire.
He'll have it all straightened out. So we're going with 19 right now for Mosqueda Lewis.
He's hardcore, by the way, wearing a T-shirt. Pat McKenna.
He's got a T-shirt under a golf shirt, so he's got 2 layers. This is hockey. This is where the hockey toughness comes out for people. Mike Cavanaugh is laughing at us, complaining about it being cold in a hockey building.
Yeah. Cav has got to be very disappointed in how weak we are.
Clay Brown launches, and a shot clock violation. Got to give credit where credit is due.
There he is.
Pat. Oh.
Trying to do some math.
He's adding with his fingers.
Trying to do math.
He's adding with. See, yep.
There he is.
Well, they put him on the big board here in the building too. I think the UConn fans, who are making up 95% of the attendance here, just applauded his appearance on the screen. Gabby Williams into the game for UConn. Played well in the first half. Puts it on the floor, and we'll go to the free throw line. So some interesting results. South Carolina pulls it out against Syracuse. 67-63 the final. That game being played in the Bahamas, but the Cardinal fall to North Carolina. That game played in Honolulu, 70-54. So Stanford goes down as Williams misses.
It's not
number
easy
1
to play in these resort locations. You got to be. See, you know what it is. You need to be mentally tough, and you need to have like some senior leadership, and I think that's where UConn came out a little soft. Be interesting to see how they progress throughout the weekend.
Well, one thing that we can say about this tournament compared to some other Thanksgiving weekend tournaments that we've seen in the past, the quality of play in this tournament is pretty good.
Yes.
This is a good field. The game tomorrow night against Vanderbilt is going to be a challenge for UConn. They look good against Minnesota. They're a young team as Stokes finished on the inside. She now has 6. And on the other side of the bracket, Green Bay beat Georgia Tech 71-50. That's a team that keeps winning championships in their conference year after year after year. There's Stokes with a block, keeps it in play, and UConn comes the other way. And Arizona State beat Villanova in the other game here today. Mosqueda Lewis drives the lane for 2.
Haven't seen Mosqueda Lewis drive into the lane in a while.
This is where it's important to keep track of what she has. We've got her for 21. She came into this game needing 24 to pass somebody for 14th on the all-time scoring list at UConn. And that someone is sitting on the UConn bench, Shea Ralph. Now 3 points away by my math for passing Shea. So 9.5 to play, another miss for Charleston. Cougars have scored just 3 points here in the second half as UConn gets 2 more from the freshman. Nine minutes to go here in game 1. Turnover for Charleston. That's number 22. UConn runs the break. Nurse with the finish. Timeout called by Charleston. 8:50 to go here in the second half. Gino Auriemma's team cruising here in Southwest Florida. (77-16) UConn over winless Charleston here. 8:50 to go in the second half, and it's time to revisit Como's court vision.
Well, this may seem nitpicky, but check out this play. Your 2 seniors. This is an example of the stuff that the coaching staff is talking about. Like, how can that happen? You can't throw that ball and turn it over, not go to it. Stokes doesn't go to the ball, isn't tough with it. That's the kind of stuff that makes this guy rub his head. And as a basketball player, those plays make me crazy.
that's what this tournament, that's what this early part of the season, some of the things, it's going to be the running theme about the leadership on this team.
Right.
And it's just natural.
And just wanting it more than anybody else.
You know, it's something you talked about in our Creighton telecast the other day about how in the women's game, and you experienced this as a coach and as a player, how underclassmen just naturally defer to seniors.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen here. It can't.
It could be a redshirt sophomore who's in the junior class, like Morgan Tuck, who kind of takes this team by the shirt, pulls them along. Could be somebody like Brianna Stewart. I think that would be a likely candidate, but it's going to be something we're going to have to find out. Could be someone like Kia Nurse, who has international experience, but she's just a freshman, so maybe feels like being a little quieter. Here's Stokes with the rebound. Inside of 8 minutes to play as Nurse got tripped up, and the foul called on Charleston. That will be their 16th foul. Get us to our 8-minute media timeout with the Huskies on time.
As a team, definitely win another championship. I think myself, Mariah, and Brianna, we kind of, we're expecting to win that. That's kind of what, it's our goal. We haven't had the feeling of losing it yet, so we definitely don't want that to happen. And individually, I just want to make an impact. That's something that I feel like I haven't done that much in the first 2 years of me being here. So, I just really want to, assert myself and, just be happy with the way I'm playing.
Morgan Tuck, her thoughts in the preseason, starting here tonight. She doesn't care. She said starter, reserve, doesn't matter to her at all. What do you think about her role in a big picture for this UConn team this year?
Well, she wants to make an impact. She's making a huge impact early on. She's so incredibly talented, and really, my prediction for her for this year is she is becoming the heart and soul of this team.
Sadie Edwards into the game for UConn for the first time. She's out there with Stokes, Williams, Nurse, and Chong. Here's Sanaya Chong. Sadie Edwards will go to the free throw line. 18 fouls now on College Charleston. As she steps to the line, let's check back in with Kareth.
Yeah, Eric, something to add about Morgan Tuck. Gino has a lot of praises for her lately, saying she's somebody who works her tail off in practice, plays aggressively during games. And Morgan told me she's thrilled Gino said those things because she wants to be that impact player. We just heard her describe that. She said an impact player to her is a scorer, a rebounder, a person making hustle plays, or even cheering from the bench, anything they need to do. And I asked Morgan what's making her proud lately about her performances. She said she hopes her teammates are noticing that she's going harder, she's in good shape after her right knee surgery, and she's not getting tired on the court. Morgan really expressed that she wants to be a leader on this team at a time when they need one. Morgan also told me she noticed something next to her name in print, and it was the word sophomore. She said, wait a minute, although that's true, she's always going to see herself as a junior, at least by recruiting year. And she wants to be that kind of leader with her class, Mariah Jefferson, Brianna Stewart. So not ready to call herself a sophomore yet. Still has plenty of time left, guys.
I don't know. As someone who's been out of college for a couple of years, I'd give anything to be a perpetual sophomore as John knocks down the three-pointer. 5 points now for Sanaya.
Make it last as long as you can, Morgan.
Rebound for Sadie Edwards. A couple of free throws for Edwards, a three-pointer for Sanaya Chong. And UConn has outscored Charleston 32-3 here in the second half. So as Charleston gets set to bring it up after the UConn turnover, we get to the answer to tonight's trivia question presented by Mercedes-Benz. 10 for 10 from the floor, Nikisha Sales in 1997. Brianna Stewart joining that 10 for 10 perfection club against Creighton last Sunday.
Pride of Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Tough shot. Stokes will pull down the rebound. And Sanaya Chong will bring it across half court. So it'll be Vanderbilt and Connecticut tomorrow night, 8:30, day 2 of the Gulf Coast Showcase. Trip to the free throw line coming for Gabby Williams.
UConn doing a nice job of getting the ball into the middle of that defense. Gabby slicing through and getting herself to the line.
We're going to look at Gabby Williams. She's struggling for the free throw line. She's now 1 for 7 in her college career. As Hurd will come back in for Charleston as Clay Brown will sit down. But you see her numbers so far through the first couple of games. And there's a make for the freshman. Now with 7 points. She's got 7 points and 6 rebounds and an assist. You're going to see like those little lines in the stat sheet fill up with her because she's all over the floor. She's trying to be involved in any way she can.
Relentless hustler.
Ruta Castro hits. Got the nosebleed to stop. Now she's got 4. Williams rips it away. I don't think you're going to win many loose ball battles against Gabby Williams.
Not at all.
Pretty strong kid. Nurse, no good. Hurd has it for Charleston.
You can hear Kia Nurse talking on defense. You come back to man.
Pretty good shooter, Aaron Hall, redshirt senior.
She's got range.
Now into double figures, only one in double figures for Charleston as they break the 20-point mark.
Are they happy she transferred from Wake Forest?
Knocked away. That's turnover number 21 for UConn. They came in averaging 10 turnovers a game. Kick over to Zoli Wallace, getting her first action of the season. Freshman. And Gino Oriemo wants to get a timeout to get Tierney Lawler into the game, but it will also get us to our media timeout with 3:43 to go. So Lawler will be on the floor when we come back in just a moment. Huskies ready to go out of the timeout, wrap this one up, and get on to game number 2 of the Gulf Coast Showcase. They'll play Vanderbilt tomorrow. More on the Commodores in a moment as Tierney Lawler has come into the game for the Huskies. And she gets fouled and will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. 10 team fouls now on Charleston. So let's take a look at Vanderbilt. They are 5-0. They were down early against Minnesota but came back to win it 71-54. The final, we'll have it for you at 8:30 here on SNY. Here from Germain Arena in Estero, Florida. 5-0 with some freshmen contributing. Audrey and Caron Goudreau was one of the bigs for Vanderbilt that UConn will have to handle. Vandy this season was down 17-2 at Wisconsin, but didn't flinch. Came back to win that game 67-58. Down against Minnesota early in this game, came back to win. So we watched them. They're a young team, but they played hard. They've got a little size, and it'll be a step up here from what UConn is dealing with here tonight against this very young Charleston team that is transitioning under a new head coach.
Right, and speaking of Coach Vandy, very well coached by Melanie Balcom. She's been there a while, and she always has her teams ready.
Feed into Stokes. Edwards, Lawler. Huskies run some clock. Sadie Edwards. They'll play on here with 2:45 to go.
Good ball movement, though. I like the way they threw it around. They're unforced error again by Charleston.
Brianna Polito into the game for UConn. So everyone has made it onto the floor here as Sanaya Chong will sit down. Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, it's official, 21 points. 25th time she's gone for 20 or more in her UConn career. Brianna Stewart, in a game where UConn scores 85, held to single digits with 8. Edwards will go to the free throw line.
Boy, UConn has players that go hard to the rim. This freshman class in particular. Watch Sadie Edwards here, just going hard. Getting herself fouled.
Edwards will get a second. Freshman who played at Blair Academy, Mercy High in Middletown before that. Stokes knocked it off of Charleston. It'll be UConn basketball. Back out top to Sadie Edwards. UConn was up 50-13 at halftime. They have outscored Charleston 35-8 here in the second half. 24 Charleston turnovers have led to 35 UConn points. Points off turnovers tonight, 35-2 in favor of Connecticut.
Wow.
Making Charleston pay for their mistakes.
And those are the little things that UConn is going to have to focus on going forward. They did a really good job of making Charleston pay for their mistakes.
Rebound to Wallace. And Polito comes away with it. Stokes knocked away. Charleston into the front court. Lost out of bounds by Polito. Charleston basketball.
Yeah, good hustle and a near steal from the walk-on. The only kid playing in this tournament from the state of Florida. Isn't that amazing? Nice little fact for you.
You wait till 1:15 to go in the game to unleash that one on me? Been keeping that in your back pocket.
There you go. I knew I would find the right moment.
Out the three for Shannon Hines. Final minute of play here. Game number 1 in Estero. Lawler knocked down a couple of free throws. Can't get the 3. It'll be Charleston basketball. Tracks down the rebound. Needs a little
She
help.
twisted her ankle, Lawler, there.
Yes, she did, but she's not about to say I need to sub out.
No, no, no. I'm sure if she broke it, she would still keep playing.
That's Ansonia tough
There
right there.
You go.
See if they can get Polito on the score sheet. They're trying. Whoa. Floating for the jumper. No need to shoot here. Sadie Edwards realizes it, and that will do it. UConn leads wire to wire in this one, and they win it by a final score of 85-24. Huskies improved to 3-1 on the season, and they will take on Vanderbilt tomorrow night at 8:30 here in Estero. And back in the lineup, our player of the game, presented by People's United Bank. Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis did not play Sunday because of illness, but looked pretty good tonight against Creighton. You see her line here this evening, going 8 of 13 from the floor and 5 of 10 from outside the three-point line.
Yeah, and she did more than just shoot threes. She got in the lane. She mixed it up a little bit more of the Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis of old, and that's great for the coaches to see.
Here's Kareth with the head coach, Gino Auriemma.
Well, Gino, the way this game finished, you were able to give a lot of minutes to your bench players. What did you get from your bench tonight?
Minutes. You know, I think, you know, those last 3 or 4 minutes, you know, where we get kind of a little passive, you know. I would think you come off the bench and there's 3 minutes left, you know, and you're up by a bunch. Every time you touch it, you want to shoot it. You know, we got guys, all they want to do is pass the ball around the perimeter. So hopefully they'll be a little more aggressive next time. But, you know, when Kia Nurse is playing the way she's playing and playing really hard and really aggressive, and Kay came back and gave us some great, you know, great minutes at both ends of the floor on offense and defense. You know, and I think those kinds of things, you know, whether it's a dive on a loose ball or whether it's a drive, whether it's a three, or I just thought the energy was way better, and considering, you know, it's cold and the kind of team we were playing. There's a lot of good things to like about tonight.
21 points for Kalina, and she even passed up some shots, getting her teammates involved. How do you like how she's developing as a leader on the court?
I was most impressed the way Kay played defense today. You know, she was active and she was involved in what was going on, and you know she's going to make threes. You know, that's a given. But she rebounded the ball. She was just involved in the game, and it was good to see, because you know, obviously she hasn't been playing much, and it was a good start to the tournament for her.
Thank you, Gino. We'll see you tomorrow.
Kareth, thanks. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 steals, 4 assists for Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis. And sometimes you got to create your own energy, and it sounds like Gino was happy with how his team kind of battled here tonight.
Yeah, and like he said, you know, it's cold, and it's the first of this 3-day tournament, first game. But, you know, it was nice to see them just play with a little fire. And, you know, it's a game after all. You know, be excited. And that's what he's trying to get out of these guys. And he was happy with what he saw.
And I want to point out Kia Nurse's line, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals for Nurse as she fills up the stat sheet here early on in her UConn career. Win for UConn here over Charleston tonight in South Florida. UConn women's basketball on SNY, brought to you by DeGiorgi Roofing and Siding. By Town Fair Tire. Town Fair Tire supports UConn basketball. Go Huskies! And by GMC. Visit the pros at your Connecticut GMC dealer for a test drive. GMC, we are professional grade. And we're in a hockey building. It was a little cold. Gino referenced it. So you know what? Before we go, just a reminder, UConn men's ice hockey tickets, they're on sale. Team's fun to watch.
Oh,
you can check
so
out all
fun.
the excitement at the XL Center this year. Get your tickets by logging on to UConntickets.com.
The games are awesome.
Once again, the final score, UConn wins it. 85-24 the final. Join us again tomorrow night, 8:30, for game number 2 of the Gulf Coast Showcase as UConn takes on Vanderbilt. Again, we'll be on the air at 8:30. Services provided by the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Plan your trip at fortmyers-sanibel.com. From Meg Como, Kareth Burke, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Eric Free. UConn over Charleston, 85-24 the final. So long from Southwest Florida.